lead us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any public comment this evening?
Jenny, did we have anybody sign up after our last check? No, we.
Ooh. Thank you. Then we'll begin with the reports. Friends of PPLD, is Rita here? Oh, yes, she is. You want to come up and just tell us a little bit of what's going on?
Thank you. So I always do things with humor and stuff, so I'll save the humor for like 2 minutes. So our biggest, as I put in the report, of course, we're busily really working on the literary awards event, which will be on Saturday, June 1st. And we thank PPLD for supporting us. So here's the humor. I looked up the schedule to see how much time you have to talk. And I was figuring 5 minutes. You know, they gave you 15 minutes.
What?
You don't have. I know, I'm like.
Are you ready?
Where did they get 15 minutes? Because exactly, usually it's like
Well, that's a lot of
you don't have to use it all, but it does give you a little bit more flexibility to sort of catch up, let the folks know, people know what's going on with PPLD and everything. We support you, so we just.
Thank
we'd
you.
like to support you too.
Add a lot of
Yeah, figure it all out.
Weeks, I have 2 weeks.
But, the sponsorships and the donations have been going great. We have right now, between all the tables that have been sold, individual tickets and everything like that, we have 166 folks attending the event, which is really good.
That's great.
Last year, we had 150.
I was just gonna say, did it have last year? So
Yeah.
that's great.
So that's great. And we're actually hoping to get up to 200 because I guess the cutoff for buying tickets is this Friday. So we still,
I better hurry
you can
up.
still get it. So that's all. We're just looking forward to this and like anything, it's an opportunity for us to also talk about PPLD and everything. So just as a reminder, we're honoring Jim and Mary Stiletti because as our best friends, and then it'll be Mark Lee Gardner and Donna Guthrie for the Frank Waters and the Golden Club. So I think it'll be great. Hope to see folks there. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
Is Courtney here?
No, she's not here.
Okay. Oh, do you have a report to give in her place or anyone?
Actually, she did have a report there, right?
Yeah, I think so.
H3. Yes.
Yeah, she did. So does anybody have any questions on Courtney's report that she submitted? If not, we'll move forward then. How about the financial report, Randy? You have numbers to share?
Yeah, I do.
One or two?
I was gonna be funny, but then I changed my mind. Good evening, board members. So the results that you're looking at are for April of 2024. And looking at the high points on PPLD as a whole, we had close to $9 million in revenue come in, which is pretty standard for April. As you can see, we're actually a little bit ahead of historical revenue through this point in time for property tax. Specialty ownership tax, that just rises and falls with registration of vehicles and trailers and stuff like that. So it's pretty close considering we don't have a whole lot of control over that, unless everybody wants to go register a vehicle and trailer. The other miscellaneous operating revenue is pretty much running on track. Our interest income is still running very hot. We had over $117,000 in interest income for April. So I don't see any signs of that ending soon, but I just don't see it going to the end of the year. We are running favorable on our expenditures, but again, we're 4 months into the year, so some of this is gonna be timing on the budget, averaging and what we're actually spending. And overall, we're $5.5 million, above, our budget number again. Smoothed out for the point in time we're at. General fund, is $4.1 million ahead. The only thing, of course, this doesn't include is our capital and our insurance fund. So all the information on here is very similar. It is broken down in the expenditures by the cost groups or centers that we established last September. Finance, that one is in the negative there because our treasury fee from the county was a little higher than our aging or averaging on the budget number for that is run. And then the interdepartmental, that one kind of runs negative because I put the hang on a second. I end up putting the attrition number in there. And we don't book that every month. It basically gets recognized at the end of the year. So there's always a negative sitting in there throughout the year that doesn't really get recognized till the end of the year. So that causes that to be off just a little bit. It looks like it's off. Capital projects, we're still way ahead. When we spend on the parking lot and we finish spending on Penrose, that'll start to even out there a little bit more. And our self-insurance fund is actually running about $200,000 in surplus to what our budget is saying it should be. Employee contributions are more in line this year than they were last year. If you remember, that was skewed because of a budget boo-boo. But got that fixed. Our expenditures are actually about $90,000 below. Those are basically claims on health insurance, so that's good to see. Not that we don't want people going to the doctor, but people are really taking advantage of, and HR's doing a great job of making them aware of less costly things that get the same type of service, like virtual care and going to urgent care instead of emergency room. Yeah, prescriptions too. So all that adds up. It helps.
Randy refused to go to ER and he needed badly, but he did not go to ensure that it would not cost library a lot of money. That's a real story. That's what happened to him. Just saying.
What a role model. Hey, he walks his talk.
And I didn't have any adjustments for this period. We, of course, we'll have some more coming through, but I didn't have any more to add for this period. As far as resolutions. Any questions other than my general help?
I am sure that your team is going to be working on it, but I would like to know what the impact of the bill that was just passed will be for next year.
For the what?
The property tax reduction. What that.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably going to reduce our levy, I think.
Yeah, I need to factor in, so we get a treasurer's letter from them, which basically tells us this is what your final number is. And I did get that, but it was too late in the process to really work that into this. So I need to factor in what that final number ended up being versus what our estimate was. And when our consultant was in here last time, she said she and I would have to talk about, the plus or minus of that. I think it's actually going to be a plus.
That's a new bill, that's
Oh,
recently.
You just signed us.
That's signed, and that's why we don't know the implication
Right,
yet,
yeah.
but we're looking into it.
Right, I mean, that'll be part of the budget setup for next
Yeah.
year.
For next year,
For next year,
exactly,
yeah.
yes,
I would just be
sorry, I
Yes.
misunderstood
curious
you.
about
Yeah,
that.
that's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a kind of chief librarian officer, financial officer group that I've got access to, so, I'll start checking in with some of them to see what they're finding in their counties, and it's nice because they're like all over the state.
It is.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Interesting.
didn't expect you to have anything now, but,
Yeah,
but I was hoping, yes, you're right.
You were hoping, yes.
Hopefully we'll have something for you, a little bit more
The numbers
information
wouldn't have
next
been yet.
month.
Or July.
Or
Okay,
yeah.
July, probably, we'll at least have some idea, probably July, August for sure, right?
But yes, but the idea sometimes they change standards and how it is, and they make adjustments in the last minute, so.
Don't we know?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Right. Public services, Tammy, tell us all the great things that I read about.
Ooh, well, some of the great things, there's always great things in the report, but some of the things to point out, I thought we'd look at some numbers this time. So we hosted all Pikes Peak Make, which had almost 1,000 attendees come to that. So that was very exciting. The studio at Sand Creek did 32 studio recordings in the month of April too. So, and if you've seen it, you know, it's a little small space. So 32 is quite an accomplishment
Right.
with the limited number of hours. And then finally, interlibrary loan, which is our service that we provide where we borrow books outside or within Colorado and outside of Colorado. They received over 2,986 requests in the month of April. So I thought that was pretty significant too, to make note of. So, yeah, any questions?
I love the art shows that
Yes,
Yeah.
they were fantastic.
bringing in all the kids' work. It's awesome.
I forget which, well, I think Denise talks about this in her thing, but which open house it was that had an art show. And then all the students and the families came during the open house. So that was really cool.
We had a bunch of kids from my
Yes.
son's school
Yes,
that have pieces in that, and they were all very excited about it.
yes,
That's great.
thank you.
That's great. Any questions on support services or the communications, facilities, human resources, information tech, safety, community resources? Any questions on those reports? These people do a lot of work is all I can say. Taylor, you want to give us your report then?
Yes, good evening, everyone. As you know that there were 2 reports submitted to this board package. One was PPLD Strategic Plan Annual Progress Report. That will be available on our website, as we believe that we need to be transparent to our taxpayers and all of the outcomes that we had in 2023. And even looking at that, I was very impressed to see how much Pikes Peak Library District staff accomplished in 2023. So, and I also want to take this opportunity and thank Jeremiah Walter for putting it together. So that then I can sit here today and provide this report to you. So thank you, Jeremiah. And do you have any questions from Annual Progress Report 2023? Again, like I mentioned, it will be on our website and everyone will have access to that as well. And then we cover all of the aspects of our strategic plan in that report.
Nope.
Very good. Also, Randy Green and his team, they've been working very hard to get ready for audit. So, and I'm very thankful to Randy, Kim, and everyone in the finance department for have everything ready for interim, pre, and now that they will start the field work. So, and also I'm pleased to say that this year, the process has been so much smoother and not as stressful as it was before. So, and we are making a lot of improvements in that as well. And we are streamlining a lot of processes in the finance department to ensure that all of that is in our system, and our goal is going forward that nothing is dependent on a person. But actually, if Randy wins, I don't know, $5 million lottery and decides to leave that PPLD, whoever comes after him will be able to pick it up and continue. I don't know what is that. So again, and we have made, I did authorize some new positions for finance department. And I know that Kim will be introducing a new accountant as well, because they serve the whole community, whole PPLD community. And honestly, it seems like that they always have deadlines. I don't know when they have a break. But again, that's huge accomplishment, and we will have it ready by the end of June. So I'm very pleased about that. And of course, then Denise will be doing a presentation. That week of open houses was very, very successful. A lot of people work together, Public Services and Communications Department. I also want to thank Safety and Security, especially Michael Bettner and his team, that now that all cameras are functional, we actually utilize it even when we get sometimes concerns from our patrons. And it's good to know that all of cameras are working and we feel safe. And I know he's still working on improving that. So I want to thank Michael for all of that work as well. So, and also from the report, you see that there is the quarterly report for what we've accomplished based on our strategic plan. And I don't know if you have any questions from that.
Anyone have any questions? And Angela, I don't mean, I just looked up and I forgot you were online, but I don't mean to not give you any attention. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Absolutely. No, you're doing great. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
I just really appreciate the report and having everything in one place and relating back to the plan. It makes it a lot easier, and it's very impressive to see. I mean, we see it every month, but to see it all in one place is amazing. So thank you and everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
And I guess from my point of view, I constantly ask, how does that fit in with the strategic plan? I know it's being done, and that's reaffirming that was good work, and it's continuing to guide the staff and the library and what we need to get done.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Again, yes. Thank you. And it's the whole library district. There's so many people who submit those reports, and then we work together to make it more digestible and to make sure that all of those outcomes are addressed. So
thank you, Tim.
yes. And my two other things is that I did have a chief of staff from the mayor's office, Jamie Fabos, and I had a meeting. We discussed our partnership when it comes to Penrose Library and Whole Colorado Springs as well. So, and we scheduled quarterly meetings to ensure that both sides know what's happening. Then I did receive a call from the chief of police. He wanted to make sure that all our concerns are addressed, and he let me know that if something comes up and I feel like there is a need for me to give him feedback, that he provided his phone number to me to ensure that our concerns are addressed at that level as well.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Wow, thanks. Board reports. Governance.
All right, so Julie's not here, so I'm speaking half. We did meet and we did have some discussion about a board retreat and possibly what we're looking at. We'll have more details about that when we get closer. We were looking at the Penrose house, but unfortunately that's not available, so we're still looking for other places right now. The other item that we wanted we discussed, and we discussed this one a lot more, was the trustee recruitment. So in the past, when a new trustee is onboarded, it's usually the governance chair that reaches out to that person and works with them. But it's difficult because we have moved the way that we're doing officer elections to the first meeting of January of the new year. And so it's kind of difficult to kind of go between two people. So what we're thinking about doing is, we're also looking at, well, what could we do a little better that's streamlining that process a little bit more, instead of just waiting for a governance committee meeting and the governance chair to do all of this, is look at the secretary treasurer role and see about having them work directly with the new person that's being onboarded. Obviously, there's still an issue about new officers being elected that first board meeting, but we will actually have officers after that first board meeting versus a chair for the various committees.
Right.
That may not happen until February. So we're looking at that. What that person would be responsible for would be just reaching out to the new trustee, making sure that they have the guides, access to all of the information. And we're also looking at if that is something that we really are looking to do, to add it to the bylaws under the officers, so that
Duties.
we're adding that as a responsibility there. Now, of course, when we do that, we have to bring the bylaws to the board to have you guys review those
Right.
and then approve them. But they've also got to go towards our lawyer, and she has to look them over. Debbie would have to look them over to make sure that the verbiage is accurate and we're not missing anything. So that's going to take some time to do, but we're hoping to get that done sometime this summer. And so we can get that ready for next year. So unfortunately, Angela's kind of in a limbo because she's the new person for this year, and she didn't really have the experience that some of us have had in the past. So we're really hoping that this process will actually help quite a bit for that. So that's what we've discussed, and we'll have more about that when we have our next governance meeting as well. Besides that, I think that was all we really discussed, unless you remember anything else that we,
Those were the two things that I
okay.
remember. Anybody have any questions on that process, or what the thinking is behind it?
What do you think?
Aaron, yeah, what do you think as secretary treasurer? Do you think that?
I think that, yeah, I think it's a good, I mean, yeah, I think it's something that I would be happy to take on in this role. If I'm not in that role next year, I'm sure whoever, would step into that would probably be glad to do it too. I do feel like, when I started on this board, it was kind of, there was a lot of stuff happening too. So I don't know if my experience was what you all had, coming on. So it would be nice to have something kind of outlined to help everyone who starts new have kind of the same experience, and, kind of a package of here's how it goes. So yeah, I think
And
it's great.
Julie has been working on that, and
Okay.
she has a nice guideline on
Yeah.
what needs to be done. Like, I think the biggest thing is trying to get ourselves connected with IT here, and our our
Sure.
email address,
checklist
et cetera.
almost, yeah,
And it
kind
is
of
like
how
a
you-
checklist,
Mhm.
and there's some of the work that she's doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, because you're working with her. It seemed to me like there's things you can do online, and there's other things that you may want, and maybe even get like a little buddy system, and where you have questions, you can at least have someone to go
Yeah.
to. Believe me, the process I went through, that was COVID day.
Okay, sure.
So it was a crazy day.
Right.
I guess it's just Debbie and Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we,
We
our
did the world
process was,
tour.
yeah,
It is like a world.
it was an all-day thing, and I felt like it was overwhelming.
We drove from branch to branch.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
Pretty crazy.
So, yeah, so we don't want to scare off
Yeah,
the new board
Agree. Yeah,
members.
you don't want to
Yeah.
maybe do too much at once, but,
Right,
giving,
Right,
kind of a a same experience to everyone, I think will help, would
Yeah.
help to give, you know.
And just as someone who's going through this process, I think each person brings in their own individual unique set of skills. And there may be areas, just make sure you have, it's not so rigid of we do this. That it's really more like I think this is what exactly would be is more of a conversation. This is where I really need to understand more. This is really where I have my questions and just knowing that person to go to and to sort of go through the processes. But I can tell you, I don't want to go to branch to branch to branch. We'll get there by the end of the year, I promise. But I think that is also something that needs to be thrown in there is each trustee that comes on the board is going to have a different set of skills, a different set of experiences, and we want that in a board, and so we want to make sure that we flourish that, and then figure out where they really need their help and where they. I'm good with this part, so that's just my 2 cents on that.
Thank you, Angela. No, I agree with that because when I can remember sitting with a great big notebook and all of a sudden we were closing things and that's crazy. But having said that, I went to it again so I could learn more because it is overwhelming. It was like when I first started teaching and they gave me a notebook of stuff and I was going like, what do I do with this now? So, but yeah, so I think what Julie's been working on as well as Scott, I think it's a really nice streamlined process where you can find things. And as we're working on different components and the website's getting redone, all that's going to be really helpful to new people.
Yep.
Definitely. Okay, internal affairs.
It's Angela.
It's me. I'm sorry. I just can't seem to hit my mute and unmute button. So basically, most of you have probably seen that we have a separation of board and administrative policies decision coming up. That is what the committee has been working on to really identify the policies that are really much more under board and sort of get us out of the weeds on some of them that are much more of an administrative decisions. And we've talked to you about that. And I know Dora's going to probably have a lot more on that point. I find it to be really sort of exciting to be able to look at these policies and to draft, but also to see where we can have our strongest focus on and be the biggest impact and not worry about little decisions that fully fall under people that are in the building, working in the building and understand the actual dynamics. So that was a lot of what we talked about. And then the other part was the asphalt at the East Library. And I can tell you asphalt is definitely a big issue at this point in time with all the potholes we see. So pretty much more, we're just trying to replace it, take care of it, allow people to, asphalt's a very different animal here in Colorado. And I am learning myself more and more about the different areas. But I can tell you, if we can replace, take care of, it will save us many dollars in the future. So that will be coming forward as decisions. So those are the 2 big things. Doris, did I miss anything?
I believe that's it.
All right, that's it for me then. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Public affairs.
We got a sneak peek of the presentation that you're gonna see about the open house, and let me tell you, it was just amazing. And I want to again congratulate Denise and Public Services and everyone who worked to put all of that together. I know it was a whole PPLD effort to do all of those open houses and wow, it was very incredible. So you're gonna love the presentation, that's all I'll tell you. And then we also talked about, you saw in your packet that the communications department and IT are working on website redesign and website accessibility requirements. And so we just got a little update on what, things are going on. There's new requirements and they're making sure that we meet them. And that was, you think of anything else?
No, that was it. You got it all.
Thank you. Liaison, Commissioner Geithner, do you have anything that you'd like to share with us?
Hi, good evening. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I've said kind of a few times, unfortunately, I have multiple meetings that are scheduled on this particular evening every month. So I am driving on my way out to Calhan. So there really isn't time to get to both. So I apologize, but thank you for the opportunity. I did want to mention, since you guys were mentioning those ADA requirements on your website, want to make sure you guys were aware that there was a bill passed at the legislature during the cycle that actually prevents any lawsuits that could be filed as a result of non-compliance with that or not quite being in compliance. It's actually a bill that El Paso County championed through Colorado Counties Incorporated because so many organizations are having a hard time meeting the really extra difficult requirements that are above and beyond what the federal government requires in relationship to ADA. So I just wanted to kind of mention that. I wasn't sure if you're aware of it. Our government affairs staff has worked really hard on that. And, you know, if you weren't familiar with it and want to reach out and get some details, of course, I know that, you know, we'd be happy to help in any way that you can, but there is a little bit of relief on that front, which I know is a really big concern for all of us. And that's all I really have, but thank you.
Thank you very much for that update on the website requirements. I'm sure Denise, if she needs any help, she'll definitely reach out because she wants to be right on top of it. Trustee comments. Anything that anyone wants to add? Scott is thinking. I do want to say that at internal affairs, or I think it was internal affairs or public affairs, we had a little conversation around the new law around reconsideration of materials. And I just want to know where we were with that. And just a few days later, we heard that the bill had passed, and we were interviewed, and I was really excited because as I read the requirements of the bill and I read what we do at PPLD, we were right on track. There were a couple of tweaks that we needed to make, and so that made my heart really happy that we're on top of it. And so that was really nice to be able to speak out on behalf of the library and say how well we are moving forward and always on top of things. And so that was good. And so I was happy to have that. Anyone else have anything to say? Except Erin, your children's art was in.
No, not my own, unfortunately. They are little artists, but a few friends of theirs.
But that's exciting.
Yeah, in their own classes. So they were like, guess what? And then I saw it on our website, and then I talked to the kids at school and said, you know, I'm so proud of you. So it was good, you know, so it was all good.
Good. Okay, next, we're gonna have a few presentations, but first we're going to introduce new staff and staff promotions. And I guess the first one is Kim.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Can I bring him up to me? So I wanted to introduce you to Jared Podlucky. He's been with us for about 2 months. His role is the senior staff accountant, and we've been really lucky to have him. So I'm gonna give him a chance to say any things and would like to introduce himself.
Yeah, I just enjoyed working the last 2 months in the finance department. Everyone's been super nice and friendly, and just look forward to meeting and working with everyone to come across at the Pikes library district.
Welcome.
Yes. welcome.
Thank you. Becca, you have someone in creative technology?
Hi, everybody. It is my very great pleasure to introduce Cameron Warren to you. She started as our creative technology specialist in March and has already just jumped in with repairing makerspace and studio equipment, and has just brought this incredible wealth of knowledge from having worked at several of our locations over the past few years, including makerspace in the East in Sand Creek, And so it's just been amazing to have her join our team, and we're super excited and happy that you got to meet her this evening.
Cool. That's a big job.
It is.
Yes.
And she's doing amazing.
She's tinkering. How fun. Yeah.
I just know I'm not to be dangerous.
I think that's all that matters, right?
We always say maker-centered learning, it's about experimentation,
Right,
flexibility,
right,
figuring it
right.
out.
Yeah.
Cameron has got that.
Great. Welcome, Ken.
Welcome.
Winter Adult Reading Program. Mr. Paisley.
I know you guys need paper.
Yeah, hi, I'm Joe Paisley. I'm a senior associate in the programming department, mostly specializing in adults, but pretty much whatever they tell me to do at this point. So, this is how a reorganization is. We had probably arguably our most successful, I think. Don't even know if I have to use the word arguably, because we had the most, we had a record number of registrations for patrons. We had 5,071 patrons take part this year compared to
Wow.
4,046 the year before, which, and I double checked the math because I have a liberal arts degree. An increase of 25.3%, which is a lot higher than normal. We've been growing at a rate of about 8 to 10% each year since the pandemic, the numbers. And so we're pretty excited about that. Think it had a lot to do with the fact a lot of our programs, as you can see in the notes there, were connected to the April eclipse. We got a lot of attention from that. We had a really good partnership with the Colorado Springs Astronomical Society, so they can support some really high quality programs that we think sort of help build momentum for that. Also, it was the 20th anniversary, and whenever you hear anniversary, people's ears perk up a little bit. You think it might have got a little more installed for that. But yeah, so we did really well on registration. Our completion rate was also really good as well, which is probably equally as important, because we had 60% of the people, 3,000, actually go through and complete the whole process and put in their 30 days, at least record 30 days of their reading. That was great because that also led to another first for us. We actually, for the first time, ran out of work mugs.
Wow.
And as someone who has to store them away, I'm very happy about that.
I have one at my house.
There you go. They're more valuable than
Yeah.
right? But yeah, so we had, like I said, we had 3,000 people complete. We purchased 2,400 mugs, so we were a little bit short, but usually there's a few hundred people that don't actually bother to get the mugs. So it was a good problem to have. We were able to give out mugs until April 15th. Usually we're giving them, usually we're storing in August. In the hall in the cave, a very fitting description of the storage space, by the way. And overall, it ends up being real good, but we were able to, meet the needs, I think, of our longtime patrons. I remember Carla in social media with communication. She had someone who put out an Instagram post about how they used all the work mugs to start their spring seedlings. And as someone who is packing up a house at the moment, yes, you do need to find uses for different mugs, especially several years worth of work.
Yep.
So you can definitely have too many mugs. But yeah, like I said, overall, we had 7 programs held, a total of 17 times with 231 patrons involved, and average about 13 patrons, which we thought was pretty solid. But again, it was the astronomical side that was really helped us out. That was some high quality stuff. So do you have any questions?
Oh, that's awesome.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about those emails.
Okay. Ooh, open house. Denise. Here we go. Here we go. Just love this.
Give me technology. Danny's here if we need help. Yeah.
What?
Technology, he's there.
Well, some of you have already seen this, and we wanted to bring it to everybody in the board and let some staff know too exactly what happened, because the whole library district was involved in this. And I know all of you are probably tired of hearing the words open house, but it was a great time. So that's right. We decided, how are we going to celebrate National Library Week? What can we do that will be fun? And I thought about this last year, and then a lot of things happened like meth last year. And so we couldn't do this.
You guys like our fish,
Yeah.
because like meth.
Yeah. So we decided to go ahead and do it this year. And so we decided we would have open houses every day of the week throughout the library district so that people would have an opportunity to come in and learn about what the library has for them. If you're new to the area, go check out your local library. Or if you're a current patron and all you ever do is come into the library, you go print and you leave, you never see the rest of the library. So this was an opportunity for people in a festive atmosphere to go visit the library, take a look at it, take a tour, find out what we have to offer, meet your librarians. Also, the staff throughout the entire district, in my department, Abby, Nawal, and Kim Melker were the ones that worked very closely with every branch that was involved with the open houses and had meetings constantly with them to make sure that everything went really well. So it truly was an entire district initiative. You know, we allowed the guests to explore the locations, taking tours. We gave them scavenger hunts that were kind of customized to fit the location so you could go in and see the different areas of that location and learn what they had to offer. And we selected the branches based on where they were located. We wanted one up north, south, east, west, in the center so that we could make sure that everybody would have an opportunity throughout the county to go and visit them and feel there was one that was close to them. And for those locations that didn't have it, we gave out I Love Life PPLD stickers. So here are some of the results. Now, we had the scavenger hunt, and you should have seen Noel standing at the door going, do the scavenger hunt, do the scavenger hunt. And I was really surprised with how many people actually turned them in. So that top row tells you how many in each location actually turned them in, and they were winning great prizes, which you'll see later. And then our door counts. I mean, the East open house was the first one, and Abby scheduled it purposely right before the eclipse party because she knew millions of people would be coming in to get eclipse glasses. And so we opened those doors at 9 o'clock, and the eclipse party wasn't until 11, but we started the open house at 10 and they just poured in. So it was 18, it was so much fun, 1,813 people at that open house. And then of course, High Prairie was another big one. They had their high school band there playing, and they had a lot of the students and their parents coming in. Now it's the door that's counting it, and there were a lot of ins and outs with the students running around going a little crazy. So that number is a little high for that reason, but still, it's very well attended. And you can keep going down and you can see. And then during the open house, those numbers tell you how many library cards were actually made during the 2 hours of the open house. However, when we dive a little deeper into the library cards, during the same week in 2020, well, this year, we made 615 library cards during that week. Last year, only 303. So more than double the number of library cards issued. We also issued 82 temporary cards. That's not included in that 615. So we're really excited about that. And then I'll tell you a little more about the new mover list, but we did a postcard that we sent out. We worked with the people that do our newsletter and send that out, and they were able to pinpoint different zip codes throughout the area. And they found for the last 6 months, they found us 9,609 individuals who were new to their area. Then we used Colleen to compare that to our library card addresses and make sure that we weren't going to be sending cards to people who already had library cards. And we sent those out, and we had 300 of those new addresses actually come in and get a library card.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
This is also some of the stuff we did to support this program. The mailers were $10,000, but they were taken from last year's budget. I tried to maximize the use of my budget, so I used that from last year. This year we did TV commercials, a lot of radio, social media, Google ads. And so out of my budget from this year, I only spent $13,000. But, you know, it was just something we tried to spread the word completely to let everybody know what was going on. In comparison, I usually spend about 45 for summer adventure, just so that you kind of know. Okay, this is the mailer that we sent out. Of course, that little line was not in the middle that talks about new movers. And it just said, pick one. And it had all these doors of all these different things. We wanted to try to catch people's attention so that they would pick it up. Usually I get these things and I just I don't even look at it. So I wanted to make sure it was kind of interesting for people to look at. And then on the back, we had all of the open houses and where they were located. And Abby and I just happened to ask a lady at PE. She was talking about the library and she was excited to be there. And we said, oh, well, how did you hear about us? She goes, I got this thing in the mail. And I was like, oh my God, we both were like trying not to jump into it. But you know, it was actually gonna work. Because I never know. She wasn't like me. She didn't throw it away. And then overall, to spread the word, we ended up making 143 items. Now, some of these were customized for the different areas, but there were social graphics, green screen backgrounds. We had tote bags. You'll see a picture. And flyers. We put out a lot of information to let people know what was going on and for them to enjoy at the open houses. On the bottom, these are all the Facebook lives that we had, and those were the different individuals that did Facebook lives at different locations with lots of social media, as you'll see some numbers coming up here next. So they're highlighted, and some of the really remarkable things are highlighted because we just started doing Nextdoor. Now we have a PPLD account for Nextdoor, so we could hit the entire El Paso County. We had to go through and make sure they realized we were a business and not just a residence, so that we could get information to the entire county. And we had one post that went and had a reach of 131,000. Carla told me usually for a month on average, we have about 12 posts and we have 81,000 in reach. Wow. So just for this particular open house, people were that interested in it. On the Instagram, we had one video with 1,500 plays. Usually on Instagram, she says our videos get between 500 and 1,000. And that's a number of videos. And then on Facebook, let me see what's remarkable number there. With the engagement and also the plays again for the videos, 30,000 plays on the 9 videos that were posted. And the one number that she was really interested in was the amount of minutes watched. They're only like about 20 seconds. So when you think about that number of minutes being watched with those videos, that's a lot. Yeah. And then, of course, we had lots of media coverage. Luckily, we had the PE reopening and the eclipse party, so that really boosted the media coverage. I felt that week that people were probably at home going, I'm tired of listening to that woman talk about open houses. It comes everywhere talking about an open house. Everyone wanted to talk to me about PE and this and that. But it was great to get the word out and let everybody know about the library. And then we also did some research on our website. So we had a TV ad that ran. You saw I spent some money there. And the one stat that we looked at the bottom is the 47 visitors from the TV ad. We had a unique URL. People, I mean, I never remember what I see on TV and then go and act on it and everything. And I watch commercials because, you know, we're in marketing. So I'm trying to see what other people are doing. So for 47 people to actually go and type in that unique URL to get to the page, to us was really impressive. And everything. And then people that from direct traffic, just typing in the open house URL, they saw it somewhere, they typed it in so they could get the information. One thing I did learn is look at the emails at the bottom, right up from the TV ad. It said 4 visitors from our email. And we did, I think I might've done some email with the Gazette. And I thought, not again. You sent out 25,000. I spent money, it didn't work. And I actually changed some summer adventure strategy because it wasn't working. I don't open email, but I don't know where they're coming from. So I'm not going to do it. Change that up. Just some of the activities. You see the swag bag, the food, the games. Those were the tote bags that we had. Everybody loved the green one. They wanted to have the frog on it and everything. And then that was that scavenger hunt. And really, I had people coming, I just can't find this last word. Can you show me where it is? So they were really into it. I was surprised. They were really into it. And then, so you'll see our sponsors here when we talk about the prizes. I mean, these prizes over here for the scavenger hunt, this is Kim talking to all people in the community, working those relationships to get these gift certificates and things from individuals and stuff. As well as on the other side, we have food, although it's covered by talking lectern. But anyway, these are local businesses next to the libraries that have actually worked with their locations and donated. They came and they brought Caffeinated Cow came over. We had Starbucks actually show up at the fountain event and actually served people themselves.
Cool.
So I was like, okay, I love this and everything. So it worked out really well. And then of course, Friends was there with the table in the middle, giving out books and everything and talking to people. And then we just get into, the individual locations. The popcorn was a big hit, but I think the staff want to kill us. We got popcorn everywhere. Not at the front door, and that was at the back. So I thought, whoa, I don't know about that. But partnering it with the Eclipse Party was really good. At High Prairie, there's bands playing in the community room. They had a really great time out there. And then this was Monument Library. Abby said this was the one that was very well planned and executed by that library. It was also after hours. So they actually did stay a little bit later. So we had a different kind of crowd at that one. But I thought that commitment was great for them to stay a little longer. And then, of course, Penrose. Yeah, wonderful. Cut that ribbon and let everybody come in. So it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I had people say, oh my God, you have Magic FM on site. This must be a big deal. Spent money with them, they can, that worked out well. And the mini golf tour at the bottom, downstairs, I have to point those guys out. They did such a great job in creating that golf course. Oh my God. That's all I could talk about. And you were talking about it a lot. It was amazing. All the different holes.
Oh my gosh.
With the dragon and the crochet things, but it was beautiful.
It was awesome.
And then Cheyenne Mountain Library was really good, nice, cool vibe and whatnot. People were having a great time there. We had that 3-time quartet touring the location and singing. They were a lot of fun for ladies. They were a bunch of fun. And of course, Sand Creek, this was the location that had the art show. So we had these parents walking in going, what's going on? I came to see my child's art. And they're like, oh, you have an open house? Okay, we'll enjoy that too. So it was a lot of fun. And then you had the parents of these ladies who were dancing. So it was packed and everything. And then, we had to go in and do karaoke in the studio. I had a lot of fun doing that. And then 21C, this was a good one too. And everybody made a remark about the food that the graduates from the FIT training cooked. The asparagus bisque, I guess, was like amazing. You frowned. Apparently it was really good.
Oh, I wish I would have come. I frowned because I didn't come.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a very good one. People had a great time here. There was a guy upstairs who goes, I come to this library every day and I'm going to take a tour. I'm going to see every inch of this place. I'm like, if you're here every day. And then I saw him like after the open house. I'm like, oh, there you are. Right. Open house. So. And then, of course, our Fountain Library, our open house there was a lot of fun too. We had a lot of great sponsors coming in. That's where Starbucks was, where they were serving. And then the bird watching, and then the dancers were back at that event. And then some of our final thoughts about, what we want to do was great. The last point to piggy off of other events. That worked out really well. Patrons really liked learning about the lesser known things. I heard a lot of ladies at East going, I didn't even know you have a second floor. I'm always coming here with the children's area. Just go with my kids.
I didn't know for the longest time either.
Really?
Yeah.
And the sad thing is though, but for them, there's the ERC. up there.
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
means they're not using it for their kids and they come to the children, but yeah.
Had no idea that was there either. Yeah.
See,
Oh,
all the
wow.
computers are up there, the maker space
Stay
is up
that
there.
long? Yeah.
Yep.
Caleb missed out because you didn't
Should
know.
have gone to the open house.
We couldn't way to the board meeting when it was there. Scott and I were wandering around East.
Let me see, the musical performances were great. And then for the future, we thought about, of course, open houses at all locations. Of course, we will not do them all in 1 week because of us trying to get to 3 locations on that Saturday. Oh my God. It was nuts.
Yeah.
And we can start planning earlier. We started on this probably last October timeframe to do this in April. And then we thought about doing it during library card sign up month because that would definitely drive library card signups. Of course, somebody said maybe there could be 2 a year.
Julia said that.
But I was like, we took 6 months to plan the one. So that means that's the only thing we're gonna do. 2 open houses, sessions during a year. So we'll have to think about that. And then we thought about offering a passport option. Now, this was brought up before, people might go to all of them. And then we could mark it off and give a price. And I was like, are you crazy? I wouldn't drive to all these locations. We had a gentleman ride his bike. He would put it on the bus and then get off at the stop he could find and then we cycle all the way. No, it wasn't Jeremiah. But I mean, he did. And I was like, wow, what a commitment. And then one of our future potential partners Phil Long had their community resource guy. He went to every single one of them.
Oh,
And I said, so you see how PPLD turns out, right? Don't you want to work with us? Randy Gregshire could have been at all of these. He now costs $2,500 an appearance. So I was like, nope, outside the budget. I promised him I was gonna bring him and then I couldn't. But we thought about doing like a passport option and maybe offering a huge prize for those individuals. There were actually two other individuals. One man came with his kids. And I think went to every single one. And then we saw him here. He didn't go to Fountain. But I was like, it's okay. You know, you're here with your child, go ahead, and your wife. They were out in the back eating on the patio. So I said, it's all right. We understand. I love the commitment. But it was just really good. We had a great time. I really saw like everybody coming together to make it happen and everything. And so just thought I wanted you all to hear, you know, how it turned out as well and everything, because we haven't really told anyone all the results. And I can't wait to do another one in 2026.
I do have to say, you guys did great work.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We're taking a break in 2025.
Okay, or is that what it is, taking a break?
Then
Okay.
they're more special.
Oh, okay. It
Can we
could
take a
be.
break from everything?
Well, I don't know about that. We are now, does anybody have any comments on that from the board? I thought I went to Penrose and I was delighted to be there. I love the golf course. Just fun. So, anything else on that? If not, we'll move down to consent items. I don't think, everybody read the minutes. Are there any questions or? Okay, and what do we do with consent items? Okay, we approve them because of their consent. And now we have our new business and we have two things that we need to make a decision on. The first one is that almighty asphalt project.
Library asphalt. So the facilities department is, looking to go forward with the asphalt project at East. Currently, East Library, asphalt and concrete showing signs of wear through potholes, surface cracking, rutting, loose asphalt. It causes tripping hazards, vehicle damage, and many other things. A total replacement was considered due to increasing maintenance costs that we have over there. At this time, general maintenance under normal conditions cannot be effectively maintained through crack fill and seal coat, which is typically what we do throughout the district. The parking lot will be removed and replaced in its existing layout, so we intend to put it back exactly as it is. The project will take on 5 phases, only exposing one portion of the lot of the current. The project is expected to start after the summer reading party and last approximately 45 days. That's if we don't have a ton of unforeseen issues. And right as of right now, as far as I know, East Library will remain open during the project. It's our recommendation that Dax Asphalt Concrete be awarded the East Library Asphalt Replacement Project. That's the board approved $700,000 for contingency purposes. That's in case we get anything sub-base. The project does carry a base cost with Dax of $660,331.10.
Okay. Scott, you said you had a few questions.
I do have a few questions. I'm assuming that this also includes the entrance. It's there in Union.
The drive from Union all the way to the back of the office. It will not cover the auxiliary, the overflow.
Okay, that was going to be another question I had, so thank you for clarifying that. I'm assuming also that as part of the phased approach, that we're not going to be blocking businesses. So there's that one business strip that's right
Correct.
there.
Correct. I've been in communication with those companies, with the property management company. They're aware that this project is coming. And with the phased approach, we will leave a space open between, I think that's Library Drive.
Yeah, I can't remember the street there, but yeah.
So they'll be able to cut straight across and all businesses will have access.
Okay, does this also include the concrete at the loading dock at East, or is that excluded?
It's not included. We did do the concrete at the loading dock last year.
Oh, okay, okay.
There was some damage there to the trash trucks and so forth. So
That's right, I remember that now. Okay, great. Those were all the questions I had.
So you're comfortable?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Since this is a decision item, we need to have somebody make a motion so you can vote.
I'll make the motion to approve Dax Asphalt and Concrete. Be awarded the East Library Asphalt Replacement Project. I believe it's 700,000.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, and
Hold on.
I will, Angela, do you have any questions?
Nope, I'm just unmuting, so when you need the vote.
Okay, I will call for the vote. All those in favor of moving forward with the motion of the asphalt replacement project signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion passes and we'll start getting some work done at East in a few months, I'm sure.
Great.
Great, thank you.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah, it is. It's been a project that's been on the books for a while. The next is we have to have a decision on separation of board and administrative policies. And one of the things that we've discussed, and Angela talked about it a little bit, I think, or was it you and governance?
No, it was.
Angela,
Yeah.
Angela, do you want to kind of review that so we can make the motion to move forward on that and why we're doing this?
Yeah,
Again.
let me see. Basically, when you looked at the policies under the board, there were a lot of policies that were very specific. Like one, I believe Dora was like the kitchen policy on how people use it and review it. That really isn't, a trustee, we oversee the chief librarian. We don't oversee who's coming into the kitchen. And so when you started looking at those policies, not to mention, I believe one was 40 pages long. So when we looked at them, the first thing we wanted to do was make sure, these are all great to have policies. You should have a policy on the kitchen, but should it be under the board? And when the committee started really looking at that, you could sort of find placements in different areas that, this makes a lot of sense to be in this area, and this really should be under the board, or this shouldn't. And we brought that to you guys last month. And so moving on towards that, at that point, we said, this is something that we see the board wanting to move towards. We, of course, want to make sure we do everything legal and correct. Checked with the attorneys, and they did say it needed to be a board vote to show that we're separating these different board policies, and each and every one of them, you'll be going through the steps with us. You don't get off easily and just get to say, okay, we're good, one decision. We're going to be going through these steps and making sure that these policies are very direct. They're very, as a lot of times say, smart. They're very understandable, and they can carry on from one time to the other. Just like, when Randy wins that lottery, which I expect my cut, that he can go on. Yeah, that he can go on. We want that for following boards. We don't want to have to feel like we're adjusting and changing. We want people that come in and can read these policies and understand them very easily for themselves. So it's transparency for the population. It's streamlining for the board and PPLD administration. And more importantly, it's just really making sure we're making smart decisions for the future boards and the future of PPLD.
Thank you. Can I have someone make a motion so that we can vote on this?
So I'll make the motion. I move that the Pikes Peak Library District Board of Trustees approve the separation of board and administrative policies as discussed.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, and I will call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion of having the separation of board and administrative policies signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, our work will begin this summer. And administrative policies will begin soon too as well. And so, thank you. Thank you for, is there anything else that we need to discuss before we adjourn? Wow, I can't believe this is a short meeting.
Good job. Good job.
Wow, yes. Hearing none, no comments, no questions. We will adjourn this meeting at 6:05, I think.
Yep.